our vision is not only to build an industry, but to build an industry that will make the Israeli financial services market more competitive, more elaborate, more price competitive. So every Israeli citizen will enjoy the fruits of the ingenuity of the companies in the same way he does in agriculture or in his hospital.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech2Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with CTech. Welcome to another episode of 20-Minute Leaders. Today I am with Shmuel Ben-Tovim, Director of Fintech.IL and the President of the Israel Fintech Center. Shmuel is the Director of Fintech.IL Innovation Community and the President of the Israel Fintech Center, the largest and most influential fintech group in Israel. His career has encompassed both the private and public sectors. Among his previous positions, Minister for Economic Affairs, the Embassy of Israel London, Assistant Director General, the Bank Leumi Group, Chief Economic Advisor to the Minister of Industry, Trade and Tourism, Israel's Consul Trade Commissioner to the United States, directly elect Mayor of Kfar Shmaryahu. Shmuel has served as a director in leading Israeli corporations including Bezeq and Israel Chemicals Ltd. He holds a BA in economics and an MBA from the Hebrew University. Shmuel, you have such an awesome career journey, working on so many different things, working in municipality and ministries and embassies and different organizations at executive levels. Today, you're the Director of Fintech.IL and the President of the Israel Fintech Center and the Fintech Community of Israel. So I'm really looking forward to just understanding a little bit better what that means and what you're doing today and how that plays into the different things you've done throughout your career. So again, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. And tell me a little bit about yourself, Shmuel. What really excites you and what you're really curious about?
Okay, first of all, I can't do anything in my life without passion. So if I do something for a time and I feel that I'm losing the passion, I'm looking for the next challenge. So I always say that I'm the nightmare of the Jewish mother who likes her, son to be in one place and get a nice pension after 40 years. So I'm not that kind of a guy. And I think if I can testify, I'm an entrepreneur in my spirit, mostly a social entrepreneur rather than being a business entrepreneur. But in whatever I do, it can be an official job, it can be an NGO, it can be a private sector job. I always try to do something that has not been done before. And I think my definition of an entrepreneur is someone who looks and sees something that other people don't see. And I would add, don't see yet. Because if they don't see it forever, you're only a lunatic. But if you can see something before other people can identify and see your vision, then you're on the right way. And I think that the current mission that I'm in and the Fintech Association is a good example, because I started it 9 years ago by myself with 2 or 3 friends. And most people that heard what I had in mind thought, okay, the guy is a bit off track. And today with 5,000 people in our network, with about 30 countries in our global network, and with activities that hard to believe that only a handful of people are pushing, when people are chasing us and not the other way, I feel that I've done something wrong. It took time and some frustrations on the way, you can't deny it. But at the end of the day, what I thought is something that should be done 8 or 9 years ago is happening a big way. So I'm very happy.
Incredible. Okay, take me back 9 years ago to the vision of the fintech community? What is sort of the need that you identified 9 years ago that led you to this?
Okay, the roots go back to my term as the Minister for Economic Affairs in the Embassy of Israel in London. When I was, of course, in current relations with the City of London, with all the major financial players, and I try to see ourselves in their eyes. What do they see in Israel? For sure, they didn't see in Israel a global financial center. We're tiny, we have to admit it. But even the financial people looked up to us when technology was involved. They said, you're so good in military technology, in agriculture, in medicine, in all walks of life. It can't be that you don't excel in this. And if you don't, you're probably not putting your efforts in the right way. And at one point, it's a long story, but I tried to put together an advisory board who would lead us the way. And my bosses in Jerusalem said, look, if you have about 15 people in the group, that would be nice. So I said to myself, I invite 60, 70, 80 people that I know in London, from all the financial district and other people. And I'll probably have, 15 notes, and that will be very nice. I got 65 yes to the idea of Israel as a leader in financial technology. Everyone was, amazed. I was less amazed because I felt that this was in the air. When I came back to Israel, I tried to see what we need to do in order to make it a reality, make it a business. And we already had two very interesting beginnings, which I brought with me from London. And this was the development and R&D centers of Citibank and Barclays under a special program that the government designed for them. And when I look at those huge banks that hardly do any business in Israel, don't see, branches of Citi and Barclays on the high street in Israel, but they still thought that Israel is the right place for them to be, to seek the technology of the new generation for their own businesses. And this was a very, very interesting indication. Now, I thought that the way to go about it is not to put the assignment of the government or the municipality or someone. I thought that the vision of the social society, the vision that an ecosystem should be built with everyone who has a role in it should take a part in it. It is government, it's the municipalities, the regulators, investors, banks, academia, consultants, everyone who has a vested interest in developing fintech in Israel should be part of it. And this is the concept that I've built this NGO, and it's very true to this very day. So when you look at the Israel Fintech Center, you see within it all these different people around it, sitting for the first time around the same table, not in a confrontational way, but in an effort to build something together. And of course, there are many challenges on the way. We can talk about them later on, but I think that I don't have to prove anymore that fintech is an industry that Israel should be in. It is already in. We have so many unicorns already in fintechs, although I look at the 700 and more fintech companies, most of them in early stages, and I think that the future is there.
What is the integration of the community within the fintech sector, the tech sector? What are sort of the interesting inflection points or intersection points between the community and the industry that we're in?
Okay, I think that what really separates the fintech industry from other tech verticals is regulation. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you look at let's say the cyber industry, maybe very close to that, you look at Checkpoint, you look at other good examples. In most cases, you know that from the very beginning, they realized that Israel is not the market for them. It's too small. But it's a fantastic market to test their concepts, to do their POCs. And it's the same in medicine, in agriculture, in defense, everywhere. Starting small in Israel, looking around you, learning the right lessons, and then go to the main market abroad. In fintech, it doesn't happen. Not because anyone directed it this way, but because the regulation in Israel, though changing and improving, still is very conservative. The structure of the financial regulator is something that doesn't make any sense to anyone. So most fintech companies in their very, very early stage need to go and face the international market, even if they are too small and very underfinanced to do that. And this puts a lot of pressure on a system that can support them. First of all, by mentorship, second, by raising funds for them, and maybe most importantly, connecting them with the right people around the world. First of all, to do their POCs and to start the first steps and see that they have something in hand. And of course, later on, probably without an NGO, they can do it by themselves, go to NASDAQ and go to M&As, and we see so many fantastic examples already. What we are trying to do is really build the local ecosystem in a way that, names like Payoneer or eToro or Lemonade, which Israelis know only if they read the financial pages. They don't know it from day-to-day life. But those kind of brands are very common all over the world. So it is really drives me crazy from time to time that an American consumer enjoys the services and the competition and the rates that Israeli companies have built technology for, while the Israeli consumer don't know what they're talking about. And this is a very important message that you can do only or deliver only together with the regulators, together with all the institutions, the legacy institutions, with all the oppositions that are there and all the difficulties. That's the way to do it. So our vision is not only to build an industry, but to build an industry that will make the Israeli financial services market more competitive, more elaborate, more price competitive. So every Israeli citizen will enjoy the fruits of the ingenuity of the companies in the same way he does in agriculture or in his hospital. And this takes time.
So you were mentioning a little bit about the challenges. So tell me a little bit what you're facing with this.
So I think that one of the very interesting things that we have done, besides being an NGO, is taking part in a government tender last year. The government has started, the Minister of Economy is leading the effort, innovation communities in many verticals. Maybe the best known of them is EcoMotion for smart mobility, but there are others. And last year, they decided to start an innovation community in fintech. And they published a tender for who is going to run the show for the government. And we applied, and very fortunately, we won it. And this puts us, since last November, in a steering committee together with all the key players. These are the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Economy, the Bank of Israel, Israel Securities Authority, the Innovation Authority, Digital Israel. They are all sitting with us around the table to try to fulfill this vision. And this gives us, besides being connected so well to the market, also a unique point of access to where the decisions are being made. And this goes two ways. It goes, first of all, we can project to the regulators and to the government ministry what are the needs of the industry and what they should be doing in order to have the vision accomplished. And on the other hand, it allows us to talk on behalf of the regulators to the industry and to explain to them that some of the things that look to them as complete madness have some sense behind it, to protect the consumer, to keep the stability of the financial sector and the banks, etc., etc. So we have to be, like a policeman in a very, very busy crossroad to try to see the interest of all and to try to integrate it to one action plan. And this on top of what we've been doing in the last 7 or 8 years, which is more the typical way of an NGO, how it works.
Wow.
And you asked me about my background at the beginning. I feel that in that mission, I really bring the lessons and my experience for everything that I've been doing, because I was with the government and I was with a bank and I was an entrepreneur by myself and I was in Israel and I was in 2 missions abroad, once in New York and then in London. So I think that everything, and I love people. I'm doing business with people. I communicate with people. So I find it like an amalgamation of everything that I was doing in my life boils down into this. So I, first of all, enjoy it. As I said before, if there is no passion, I'm not there. And second, I feel that we are slowly but surely moving forward. We are involved also in some social issues. We call it Fintech for Good. And we have now 2 main efforts. One is Fintech for the third age, for the old people. And the other one is Fintech solutions for the Arab community of Israel. Both are communities that are less involved, even compared with other sectors of the population, with financial technology and financial innovation. And I think that if we are able to have such groups see the benefits of technology to them, not because they need to catch up with the rest of the population, because it caters to the special needs they have. And the technology is bringing those solutions to their doorstep because they're aware of what makes them move and what are the real needs. So these are all, there are so many things that we can do and we can talk for hours. But I think the essence of it is what I've just said.
Incredible. Where do you get your own personal satisfaction today in running this? So 9 years later, we're more than 5,000 members. Where do you really get to enjoy what you've built here?
I think the main satisfaction comes from being less and less the chaser and more the one who is chased after. So when you get from really very reputable institutions and academia in Israel and abroad who turn to you and look, I heard about you. I know that you're doing ABC. Let's do this and this together. And sometimes those are ideas that I never heard of, but they come from external sources, and they create the kind of coalitions and collaborations that are amazing. I'll give you one example from the last week without mentioning any names. A very reputable academic institution in Israel came to us and said, look, our graduates are all sought after. They are fantastic. But the feedback we get is that once they go on a job in one of the big fintech companies, they need about 1.5 years to 2 years to get to be ready for the job after they completed their MBA or their computer sciences in the best of the academia. They are not geared for the job. They need a complementary kind of training. Let's think about something that we'll do inside the academia. The last part of any academic degree or training program will be in a way that they would be doing in a company, but 2 years earlier. So the industry gets more ripe and ready people. Something I must admit I've never thought about that deeply. But when they come to me and say, let's join forces, you bring the industry, we'll bring the academia, let's build it, that's something that excites me a lot.
It sounds like not just this, but throughout your career, sort of this whole integration notion coming from a very mature perspective of this sort of understanding of what it takes to build an ecosystem in a community and how different stakeholders can benefit from working with each other. I think that it sounds like it's a huge part of your journey, and I love how you're mentioning that. It's such a you mentioned the word mission a few times throughout this conversation, and it really feels like you are on a mission. And Shmuel, I really want to thank you for not just for this great episode, but really for the great work you're doing for the fintech community of Israel, for Israel in general, for the global ecosystem. It really is very, very cool. And thank you as well for coming here on this show and sharing your insights with me.
Thank you, Michael. My pleasure. And let's meet again soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you very much, Shmuel.
Thank you. Toda.